E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna and Jim, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Ginwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief.
Good afternoon. Oh, sorry, folks. Let's try that again. Good afternoon. Welcome to Messages of Inspirational Stories. We were rudely interrupted by Glock, who was trying to jump up and missed.
I thought you were just going to start the show off with a bang today on Friday.
Oh, my goodness. It is July already, Jim.
Yes, ma'am, it is. And it's been hot. It's been HOT hot. I mean, people ask me, I saw Bill Heinrich the other day, and he says, how's your weather? And I said, oh, we're hot and dry. We got a little bit of rain.
Yeah.
And I said, we don't mind that because we lived in Arizona for 20 years, as you know, Donna. And I remember in 1974, we went an entire year in Arizona and did not get one drop of rain at our property in Bisbee, Arizona. Mm-hmm. I'm serious about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've actually had a little bit of our early monsoon this year, which has been nice. And Lord knows that we could use all the rain we could get. Oh,
boy. That reminds me of an old joke that I played on my wife. I'm going to share this with you. Where we go to church at, this one guy, he was always big in how much rainfall he got. Now, he lived in the city. I'm going like, what's the big deal? I mean, I can understand if you got to water your grass and pay for water. And he always got more water, rainwater, than anybody else according to his little rain gauge. I got tired of hearing about it because Evie had a rain gauge and she kept up with it. I didn't. So I started adding water to the rain gauge.
Oh, Jim. You were so bad.
And I didn't mean for it to start out like it ended up. But Ellen got caught up in it. And so anyway, I told my daughter, Lisa, I said, now don't tell your mother because she'll get mad at me. But I didn't start out to tease her. I started out to, it's not nice to go to church and tick somebody off, but I did. I'll be honest. Because he was always, well, we got more rain than what the paper said. And I said, well, I guess you're living right, huh? And then after I started adding water to our rain gauge, he says, how come you guys get more rain than anybody else? I don't know. Maybe the cloud, hit the tops of our trees or something that ripped it out or something. I don't know.
Oh, that's funny.
And so I told Lisa, and she cracked up. I'm going to tell James, I said, well, make sure you don't tell your mother because I know how that's going to play out. James came home from Iraq. And so we're here at the house. And Lisa, hey, James, you know what the old man did? I'm going like, Lisa, no, don't go there. And she shared the story.
She went there.
Mm-hmm. Dove right into the middle. And her and James started cracking up laughing. Elvin gets mad. She goes out. She rips that thing out of the ground. And I apologized to her, and I told her the reason, but I mean, I don't think she bought the initial reason, but it was the truth. And so anyway, I went back out there and installed it, and I says, I will never touch it again, I promise. And because she asked me one time, she says, we're getting more rain than anybody else. Did the dogs urinate in it? And I says, well, I don't think so. It's too high for the dogs, number one. Number two, it'd be kind of yellow instead of clear water, But anyway, that's my rain gauge story for the day.
Well, I don't keep a rain gauge here. I don't. I usually can tell by the fence And the pool, how how high the pool's got.
Yep, that's right.
Because here in the summertime, I have to water my pool about 4 times a week.
Yep, because it just evaporates.
Ooh, something fierce.
And talking about July the 1st, we got a bunch of things that's national today on July the 1st, and
Oh,
we're going to take it from the top.
one of my
In-
favorites.
International Joke Day. I just shared, well, mine wasn't a joke, mine was real life. It's just a funny story. But today's the day for International Joke Day. And Donna, there's another, well, there's more than one. Would you like to take the next one?
I would. It is American Zoo Day,
Oh, yeah.
celebrating our zoos. And,
Hmm.
I've had the privilege in my life of being able to not only live in several states and visit
Hmm.
several zoos, but also go to, well, when I was in Washington, it's a place called Northwest Trek, which is
Hmm.
this huge portion of land out by Mount Rainier.
Hmm.
And it has indigenous animals to the area.
Wow.
And it was absolutely breathtaking.
Mm.
Um, kind of, I mean, they're in a closure, enclosed. So it's not a zoo setting, but it's as natural, I guess, as can be for that. I've also, when I was in Ohio, and there's several out in the areas all over the country where they have, it's more like a safari, right? You're
Hmm.
in a truck and
Right.
you go out there. Got to see
Mm.
that. And of course, the Columbus Zoo. And I got to tell you, it is one, in my opinion, I've been to San Diego Zoo, of course, several times. But it is my opinion that the Columbus Zoo beats San Diego hands down.
Wow.
It is such an amazing zoo. If you want to see the whole thing, you
Hmm.
better go when they open because I'm telling you, you're going to walk.
Hmm.
It's huge and absolutely gorgeous. And they have different areas. They've got the safari, the African safari. They've got the
Hmm.
like the American part. They've got an Asia part
Mm.
to include what are they called? Dang it, they're huge lizards, Komodo dragons.
Komodo dragons, yeah, those
Yes,
things they come from Indonesia down there. Oh
yes.
yeah.
So they have that. They have like a little boat ride that you can go
Hmm.
in through the park in the Asian portion.
Hmm.
So it is an amazing zoo. But I'm really really thankful for that.
Yeah, I tell you, because that's in, you say Columbus, that's in Columbus, Ohio.
Correct.
Yeah,
Go Bucks.
go Bucks, huh? Yeah, I tell you, it's really something because you go there and you see all those animals, and it's really amazing how creative that
Mhm.
the creator was in creating all these animals and stuff. My goodness gracious.
Right?
Uh, mm, I'm thinking about the Komodo dragon, and it it attacked a baron one time, I think in 1974, and I'm looking for it right now since Donna mentioned that. Uh, Here it is. He was a Swiss baron named Rudolf von Reding, Reding, Big Bird, Big Bird, Bibberg. In 1974, he was there on the Kimona Island, and he wandered away from the rest of the group. I've read the story in the past,
Ooh,
so I'm kind of familiar. He wandered away from the rest of the group. He just wanted to do his own thing. And I think the guy's around 72 or 73. He wasn't a young guy or anything. And I couldn't find him. And the only thing they found was his glasses and his camera. Because those things, in a three or four of them get together or something like that. I mean, they can take you out. I mean, there's
well,
no doubt.
one can take you out. I mean,
Yeah.
they're not only
Mhm.
powerful, but the bacteria in
Oh, yeah.
their
Saliva.
mouth,
Hmm.
right, is so deadly that it immediately begins to poison your system.
Mm. Yeah. And that leads us right into our good folks over there in India. Today is Doctor's Day for you folks to celebrate the National Day, Doctor's Day in India. And be sure and, just take a moment to send them an email or drop them a note or card or whatever, and let your doctor know, thank you for being there in my hour of need. Because I tell you, when when you need a doctor, and we can all appreciate that. You really appreciate the fact that doctor's there and that doctor's trained and that doctor cares
Yes.
about you. I
Yes.
laughed one time when we were talking to an insurance person about medical insurance. And he says, you get to, pick your own doctor, no matter where you're at or whatever, emergency room or whatever. And I go like, if you wind up in the emergency room, you're not exactly going to be interviewing doctors.
Right. Right.
At least every time. I've only been there a couple of times, but I mean, I'm not going to say, anybody else, you got another doctor here, I'd like to interview him, ask him, so what are you going to ask him anyway?
Let me see your credentials. Well, today is also National Repair Your Doghouse Day.
Oh, yeah, especially for you guys that live there a lot,
Well, so, I don't believe in dog houses. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of folks do, but my dog is part of my family. He's just like he's a son to me with 4 feet. But his house is my house.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess for National Repair Day, it's a good thing we're remodeling for him and the cats.
Taking it up a notch. But
Right?
the main thing of it is, if with your animals, make sure they're properly sheltered too. And any repairs for, any, like when I used to have goats and stuff like that in Arizona, they had their own little house,
Right.
And it's so important for that to take care of your animals, because how a person treats an animal is a true reflection of their true personality, how much character they got, and how they would treat others.
Right.
Yesterday was the 69th anniversary of the first time a 1953 Corvette rolled off the assembly line.
Mm-hmm.
That was June the 30th, 1963. So July the 1st, this is the day that you drive your Corvette to work.
Right.
And you drive your Corvette to the studio today, Donna, or did you park it in the garage?
Well, it'd be kind of hard to get it down the hall.
I didn't say in the studio. I said to the studio.
Well, today is now International Chicken Wing Day.
Yeah, mercy. That is some great food there. I mean, I love that.
Good chicken wings.
Oh, we've been talking about this week too. National Creative Ice Cream Flavors Day. Oh my goodness gracious. I mean, think about all the different type of creative ice cream you can make. My goodness.
Good fun.
All the different flavors, yeah. And because ice cream was actually invented way back in the 5th century, I think it was, by the Greeks. And it was first documented recipe by English, a lady Anne Fanshaw's recipe for orange blossom ice cream is documented. That was in 1665.
Wow.
Oh boy. Yeah.
Wow.
And Donna, when it comes to ice cream, I mean, this, just like we were talking, I think it was yesterday on the show. Day before. Okay. Making ice cream in different flavors for different kids. And you came up with a brilliant idea there about, making different flavors in smaller containers.
Yeah, in a mason jar.
Yeah, you sure did. Yeah, that was amazing. It really was. And also today, oh goodness gracious, I know what I'm going to say when you say this, Donna. What national day is it?
It is National Ginger Snap Day.
Mm.
Now that could be taken 2 ways. It could be the cookie, or when a ginger temper snaps.
Oh, yeah. I love ginger snaps.
I do too. I love making them in the fall and the winter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just kind of goes with the crispness of the air.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, for us here in the valley, it's about November before it starts cooling down.
Yeah. I like to take a ginger snap in the morning and dunk it into my coffee, and it's just good. I remember
Mm.
one time I was out in Arizona and I'd gotten up at my usual time around 4:30 or 5 and had the coffee on, had the dogs out, had the fire going and all that. And she had made some of these homemade cookies. And so I went in there to get my coffee, and I thought, what if I want anything with my coffee? Because most of the time I will always drink a glass of water when I first get up. That's critical for you. And then I pour my coffee, and I was in there getting my coffee, and I thought, and I saw those homemade cookies that she already had made and packaged up and all. So I got about 3 of them. And I had cookies and coffee for breakfast. And she called me and she says, "How you doing?" "I'm doing fine." She said, "You eat?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." She said, "What'd you have?" And I says, "Cookies and coffee." Cookies and coffee. Well, at the time, ladies and gentlemen, it seemed like an absolutely brilliant idea. What can I say?
Right.
Oh, my goodness. But I tell you, ginger snaps, oh, my goodness gracious. They are just a fantastic, delicious treat.
Well, and
And
ginger's good for you too.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it's just amazing. It's just I love that cinnamon type of taste it adds. The ginger aids in digestion and things of
Hmm.
this nature. It really does. It's good for your stomach too.
Yep.
And I tell you, it's a wonderful herb. It really is. And Donna, today is also the National Post Workers Day.
Yes, it
You,
is.
people that
Sometimes that's a thankless job for them, but I salute each and every one who do it because
uh,
they're out there delivering our mail, good news, bad news, and bills.
mhm,
In the heat, in the rain, in the snow,
mhm,
you name it, they're in it and they're out there
yeah.
doing it each and every day. So my hat's off to them.
Yeah. And just like you said, they do not discriminate. Good news, bad news, bills, you get it, you know.
Right.
And I used to teach my recent mailman I had for 20 something years. He finally retired. And he used to get so aggravated at me because a lot of times I'd see him coming. I'd walk up there and meet him at the mailbox, chat with him a little bit. I used to always tell him, "Listen, I don't know why this is hard. You do not deliver bills on Friday." And I would And he was just kind of like, "Oh, give me a break."
Right.
And the reason why I did it is because I knew the reaction he was going to,
Hmm.
going to give me, and that's why I did it. And but to the postal workers, I mean, they work just like UPS workers, Amazon workers, and delivery
Hmm.
people. They work in all kinds of inclement weather, cold, rainy, whatever. They gotta, just keep on keeping on.
Yep.
And also at the post office, today is the National U.S. Postage Stamp Day. There's a lot of money in collecting stamps. I mean, there are some stamps out there stamp collectors are a special breed, and that can be a very lucrative hobby, you might say.
It is. I know this from recent personal experience that the stamps of yesterday aren't as valuable as they once were.
Hmm.
But there are some that are still out there that are really, really valuable.
Hmm.
So if you're into doing that or thinking about it
Hmm.
and you're wanting to do it for profit, I would advise you to go to somebody who buys, sells, and collects stamps as a
Hmm.
business and go
Yeah,
talk to them.
yeah, exactly. And it's also a great hobby for kids start or something like
Hmm.
that. It'd be very inexpensive to start, I think. I mean, because you wouldn't want to get the more expensive ones or anything like that. Just stamps in general is what I'm
Right.
thinking. But they're very unique, and there's a lot of different. There've been hundreds of designs, over the passage of time.
Right.
Hey, Donna, have you ever worn the wrong trousers?
No.
Okay, I haven't either, but today is a National Wrong Trousers Day. And
I wouldn't think that'd be a very fitting experience.
I, I hear you. And, I'm just going to read up here a little bit on it right quick. And I mean, I'm just trying to figure out why July the 1st. And we owe it to the British, it says, for creating this event of the wackiest bottom wear to help raise awareness for an important cause. And back in 1997 was the very first Wrong Trousers Day held in an event in support of sick children for raising funds for the Bristol Children's Hospital. So that was a great cause. So people would wear, I guess even their pajama bottoms, whatever.
That's kind of interesting because in 1997, I was
Mhm.
pregnant with my last child,
Mhm.
and I didn't have maternity pants. So I went and got my husband's jeans and wore them as maternity pants.
Mhm.
And I got to tell you, that made him mad that I could fit in his jeans as maternity pants.
Did you kindly remind him, well, it's your fault I'm
Right,
in this
right.
condition anyway?
But he's like, I'm not that big of a person. How is it that you're wearing my jeans as maternity jeans? I said, well, I guess you're bigger than you thought. I mean, I only gained 25 pounds with that one, thank goodness. But
Oh, but that's a wonderful cause. And it's a wonderful cause for you to just think of things outside the box like this,
right,
especially for good causes to raise money for kids and things of this nature, especially, kids that have diseases and cancer or whatnot, leukemia, just to raise awareness of it. And, it's really a wonderful thing to do. It really is.
right.
And Donna, yesterday we were just talking all about education.com and all the wonderful things it has there. And I was impressed when we tripped across that. I'm so glad we did.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. It was amazing what they've come up with to help people
Mm.
and help the kids, help the parents or what have you online,
Oh,
and
yeah.
and all that they have there to make games fun,
Yeah.
and that they're learning. And especially, like I said, to me, it's important to keep their skills going at all times. But when they
Yeah.
struggle in one subject, whatever that subject is, if you can find something online that piques their curiosity, but it's helping them learn in something that is, they're just not quite getting there like they are maybe the other subjects, that's a
Mhm.
beautiful win-win for everybody.
Oh, yeah. It really is. And again, ladies and gentlemen, that's education.com. And when you go there, they have the entire library there that you can look at. Oh, they got all kind of worksheets and activities and you just name it. I mean, anything you're looking for. Plus, they start out at preschool, they go to kindergarten in grades 1 through 8. And when you click on one of those, let me click on a third grade here and see what it brings up. This one here says fill in the blanks. Create
Right.
your own crazy story with this fill in the blank. This will require third grade reading and writing, and it's a worksheet.
Hmm.
And they have printable worksheets there where
And
you
they
can
have
go there.
lesson plans.
Oh, yes, Donna, talk about that if you would, please.
Absolutely. I mean, I looked at this and I was like, wow, you have lessons plans for this? So going in, they have guided lessons and then the lesson plans. And when
Mhm.
you go into the lesson plans, it literally has each lesson planned out. So if you're wanting to, kind of go into this in a little more depth, it is right there ready to help you
Mm.
and help your child. So I just think that this is the pajamas, if you ask me. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
it's the pajamas because it's helping our children who, there is nothing more in this world than we want to see children succeed. They
Mhm.
are our future.
Mhm.
And we want, of course, for them to have a better life than we have
Mhm.
and a more enriching life. And I
Mhm.
feel, I think most of us would agree, whatever we can do to propel them forward
Mhm.
in a fun manner of learning is
Mhm.
time well spent.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because these folks, they just really took it to a great opportunity. And when you click on more, you can actually see interactive stories.
Right.
And oh, goodness. And they got science projects there. They got song videos. Well, some of the science projects, my goodness gracious. My black shirt is a heater. It's for third grade level. And it says this science fair project idea researches how your choice of clothing can affect how hot or cool you feel during the day.
Hmm.
And mapping the energy use of my classroom. Wow, that's third grade.
Right.
This science fair project enhances the understanding and awareness of energy use and explores the concepts of it. I mean, oh my goodness,
There
dirty
is
air. Oh
a
yeah.
plethora of things that they can do.
Yes,
Reading,
yes.
writing,
Mhm.
phonics, spelling, grammar and
Mhm.
mechanics, science,
Oh yeah.
fine arts, math,
Mm.
social, emotional, and
Mhm.
social studies. I mean,
Yeah.
that kind of covers an awful lot.
Yes, ma'am, it does. And don't forget they got games there too, from
Oh,
preschool
yeah.
all the way up to eighth grade. And I mean, these things, oh goodness, there's got to
Well,
be something there that a kid, your kid or your kids can, or grandkids can definitely relate to.
right. And if you go in by topic, there's arts and crafts and coloring and
Hmm.
holidays, offline games, seasonal. I
Hmm.
mean, holy cow, there's so much out there that you can get from this.
Hmm. Yeah. One of the things too that's important with kids is to have them practice their memory. And I'm looking here at on prodigygame.com. They got a card memory game, and you lay out 9 cards on a table, and you give your child 5 minutes to memorize the cards, then turn them over and ask your child to remember where they saw a specific card.
Hmm.
That is a fun thing to do, and with all training or anything like it, anything you're trying to teach your kid, make it fun.
Right.
Because it was
Pardon me.
yesterday,
That's the
Donnie.
key.
Yeah, Don, I think it was yesterday you were talking about, teacher to rack your knuckles and stuff like that with a ruler or something like that if you didn't do it
Oh,
right.
yeah. My
Yeah.
teacher in third grade, Mrs.
Yeah.
Logan.
Oh man.
Yeah, she smacked the crap out of you with her ruler on your hands and just embarrass you in front of everybody.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it withered me inside,
Yeah.
and it did.
Hmm.
That's such a all ages are tough, but when you're trying to
Hmm.
learn something and somebody, a teacher, somebody you're supposed to look up to and respect, smacks the living crap out of your hands. I remember telling my mom and dad about that as
Hmm.
when I was older. My dad, taught. He was tenure ASU. He's a full professor.
Hmm.
And I was telling my mom and dad about that. And I got to tell you, all those years later, they were mad.
Oh yeah.
I do mean mad. They said, I wish you told me about that because it
Hmm.
would have never happened again.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
but the sad part was I was so embarrassed that she made me feel so stupid
Hmm.
for not knowing the answer, not being able to grasp it right away. And then I was so embarrassed by that, and all the kids, kids can be really cruel, and all
Hmm.
the snickering and what have you, that how was I going to go home and tell my mom and dad basically that I was
Mm.
a laughing stock of the whole classroom that day,
Mm. That's tough. I mean,
right?
kid can't do that. Yeah.
So, I remembered that going forward in life when I had my children. And I can tell you for fact that each one of my children, I've come to their defense for
Hmm.
teachers who thought they were above God and above everyone else and that they could do
Hmm.
what they want.
Oh
And
yeah.
they obviously had not met me.
Donna has a way of not only taking the slack out of the chain, but yanking it out of the chain.
I yanked a few of them pretty damn hard.
Yeah. It's really amazing because my fourth grade and my fifth grade, since we're telling a couple of stories about school, were two different worlds apart. I remember Miss Jewel Blanton, my fourth grade teacher there at Lattimore School, when her parents named her Jewel, they must have saw this girl coming
Mm.
because she was a true jewel. She had one of the sweetest smiles I ever saw. And, she was always very, very kind, very supportive. And I have precious memories in my heart for that lady. And one day, if I'm fortunate enough to see her again, I want to hug her neck and just say thank you.
Right.
And my fifth grade teacher, well, it's kind of like that old saying, you hope everybody goes to heaven, but you also hope there's some people he puts way over on the other side.
Well, and we, when as adults, we look back at that gym, and that made, because of what Mrs. Logan did to me. And then I had some amazing teachers. Mrs. Love in first grade, and then our librarian, Mrs. Minky. And she was the one, there was back in those days, you had the younger library over here, and then you had the older kids portion of the library over here. And I'd read all I wanted to read over here in the younger area. And I went over and I pulled out the book, Little Women, and I went to check it out. And she looked at me and she said, "Well, sweetie, this is above your reading. You're supposed to check out books over there." And I looked at her. I said, "I know, but I want to read this one." And she says, "Well, technically, you're not supposed to read that until you're like in fourth grade, fifth grade, something like that." And I said, "Well," I just looked at her and, being true to who I am, even then, I looked at her. I said, "Well, that's stupid."
Oh, that reminds me of a story about Evelyn. Those of you that know my wife, Evelyn, you know what? She's very quiet, very reserved and all that. And I don't remember all the details of it, but the teacher was shocked and told Evelyn's mom about it. And because evidently Evelyn got fed up with something. And Evelyn just blurted out to her, "You're a jackass." And for Evelyn to say that, I mean, she wouldn't say as the old saying goes, the S word, if she slipped and fell face first in front of it, she just wouldn't, because that's who she is. She just,
right.
And it really, shocked the teacher. It hurt her feelings. And her mom says, "I can't believe she said that." And she talked to her and all that, and never went back and apologized. But it's amazing. But it's amazing how your teachers growing up can shape your life, can make good impressions, bad impressions, whatever. The same is true with us as parents. When you're teaching your child, especially during the times when they can't go outside and play because it's too hot, or if it's raining and budget is too thin to do extra things. But being able to find some fun things like here on education.com and have fun, have them train, be working with them, train them, and encouraging them, and hey, that's great, treating them. Be sure and give them a treat. Doesn't have to be anything expensive, but like ice cream or something like that, homemade ice cream.
Well,
I keep talking about homemade ice cream.
I know, but here's what I love is that drawing on my own experience and the experience of my children who went through some moments, because they didn't last long with their teachers. I saw to that real quick. And let me preface that by saying, folks, it's not that I'm disrespectful. I'm absolutely not.
That's true.
I respect teachers, but some teachers feel that because they have that teaching certificate, they can do what they want and they can say what they want. And that's not always right. And that's where I draw the line. So anyway, but in drawing on that, if you can work with your child where that they're not a subject that they're going to have to take throughout school, that they're not grasping right away, and that you can work with them at home. Well, now they're in a safe environment, and they're in an environment of love, right? And they're not feeling the pressure from the teacher or even from the other students. Now that, to me, makes so much sense to help them in areas where they struggle.
Oh, yeah. Like I said a little bit earlier about my fifth grade teacher, the only problem was that Well, not a problem, but her husband worked on the same line crew at the power company my dad did. And every little thing I did, it seemed like, she would look at me over those half rim, half moon glasses she had. She's, I'm going to tell Hugh about this.
Right?
The woman never lied me. I can say that. But you know the way stories go. She tells Hugh, Hugh tells my dad, and by the time Dad gets home next day at 5 o'clock, I mean, I've been praying for the world to come to an end and get me out of here. I mean, I got more whippings in the fifth grade than I did any 3 year period in my life growing up. And that's the truth. But it always seemed like it got bigger or more embellished or whatever.
Right.
And she never said that to any of the other kids. I'm going to tell your parents or whatever. She just says, I'm going to tell Hugh. And of course, she'd tell Hugh and Hugh would tell my dad. You can imagine. That was an incentive for me to make sure I passed the fifth grade. I don't think I had survived another year of that, to be honest with you.
Right.
But the two different teaching styles, the two different ladies, yes. Mrs. Jewel Blanton, bless your heart, you were a sweetie. I've thought about her many, many times growing up. And she's one of my teachers that I've thought many times of that I really appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
The patience, the understanding, and seeing something in me as a young, bored kid that was not
Right.
dumb. I was just bored. Seeing something in me to help me believe in myself. One day, I hope I'll be able to say thank you and hug their necks. I mean that sincerely. I really, truly do. They have a special place in my heart, and rightfully so. They earn that right to live in my heart.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, with the weather being crazy, wherever you live, like here, it's awful hot out. Of course, it didn't seem to bother or affect us much as kids, but
Nah.
maybe we were just
Too
too
young
dumb,
and too dumb.
right? Too young, too dumb to notice it. And we always went barefoot, mind you. Didn't matter how
Oh
hot
yeah.
it was. We
Oh
had
yeah.
feet like leather.
Mm.
But fun things to do indoors. One of the things that I was just reading up on that I thought was brilliant and is fun is, you can clear space, make sure, of course, nothing too breakable around, but
Mm.
get little plastic balls of
Mm.
different color and let the kids learn to juggle with them,
Mm.
right? So, it may not last, but again, it's about they're having fun, they're doing
Mhm.
something different than they did yesterday. Now, the interesting thing when you break it down, what are they doing? They're doing hand eye brain
Coordination.
coordination,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. That's
Get
very,
it done,
very important because those are all your motor skills right there. That's the
right?
basics of them. And Donna, as you were talking about that, I looked at that page there, and I saw something that was really, really interesting. And you imagine with kids with their personalities and all, filming it and having them put on their own little TV show,
Oh, absolutely.
either a cooking show, a comedy show, whatever your little kid's desire has,
Mm,
because you want to keep those because down the years, oh, just think it when they get up to be in their 20s and they
right?
come over with their or with a girlfriend or boyfriend. Oh, would you like to see? She did a cooking show or he did a comedy show. You'll see him or her. We
No,
got it.
no, don't do that,
But oh my goodness, you may not want to do that, but I would.
right? Save it for the wedding video.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. But think about the fun that would be, but also would help enhance their personality, their creativity, everything. Because
Right,
as Donna said earlier, she said it best when she says they're in a safe environment where they're loved and nobody can laugh at them.
right,
That's the main thing.
right. It makes learning so much easier
Yeah.
and so much sweeter for them.
Hmm. Yeah. It really does. And Donna, being able to share some of the information here, you talked about this, I believe, on a previous show about a treasure hunt.
Oh, love
Those
those.
things have got, oh, they're just,
I love
mm,
those.
I do too.
Treasure hunts are so much fun. The kids really, my kids always bought into it.
Hmm.
And treasure hunt, scavenger hunt,
Hmm.
and you put a parameter so you know that
Oh,
they're
yeah.
safe.
Oh, yeah.
And if you live in a big area, have somebody go out with them.
Mhm.
But it can be as big or little as
Mhm.
you want. And then, you put those prizes in and
Oh,
sit
yeah.
down. And the fun thing is, as an adult, we can sit down and make a list of things that the children would never think of, right? You
Isn't
can
that
be
the truth?
you can be specific. Like, how about one yellow bread twist tie?
Hmm.
The little twisties on the end
Mhm.
of the bread. So you can't just ask for a bread tie. You want to ask for a specific color.
Mhm. Oh,
It
yeah.
just makes it fun.
Yeah, and just, you could draw it like a little treasure map kind of a deal, and X marks a spot over there, but then give them clues, little, vaguely clues, like they're detectives on something, taking a real
Mhm.
treasure map, and be creative on that. And then, let your children create a treasure map for you to find something.
Right.
Let
And I
them
would
reverse the
advise
role.
going to the neighbors and letting them know too.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Because it's, yeah, that, yeah, absolutely. Because the more the merrier, right?
Well, and also letting them know that they may be in their yard
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
the why. So you
Hmm.
go to your neighbors and say, "Look, I'm doing this for the kids for today or tomorrow, whatever it is. And is it
Hmm.
okay if we use your yard as part of the treasure hunt?
Hmm.
And I hide something there, a
Hmm.
little dinosaur or whatever it is."
Hmm. One thing too is there's simple little things that you can learn about magic, and have your kids put on a magic show and
Hmm.
film it, because here again that with your hand and eye coordination and how they work on that, it's those motor skills will only improve, and those are good motor skills. They really are, because it requires the mind to think, the subconscious mind, the hands, everything to coordinate, because
Right.
some of those magic tricks are so simple.
Hmm.
I don't have anything in my hand right now, but this is just like a little, you hold a penny in between your thumb and your index finger, and in behind it, penny, where they cannot see, are three quarters laying horizontal, trapped between your fingers, your thumb and your index finger, with the penny in front blocking it like that. Okay. And then you do this abracadabra stuff, because all the motion is to distract the eyes.
Right.
And then when you bring your hand over, you're obviously going to flop it down where they cannot see. And your thumb actually takes the penny and slides it over the top of the quarters. And then you turn it around, twist it around, and then you show three quarters. It's
Right.
very, very simple, but it's a cute little simple trick. And there's just a bunch of them out there like that. But have your
Well,
kids put on a magic show, and
you can check out books at the library on it.
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's very entertaining. And those are fun things for kids to do, because whenever you can get the motor skills and the mind in sync, that's a win-win situation.
One that was listed on here that we used to do a lot as kids, and I think my children did it some, but not as much as we did back in my day, is
Mhm.
musical chairs.
Oh yeah.
And I got to tell you, I'm a pretty fierce competitor, and I absolutely was not shy about bumping somebody's butt out of the chair so I could take it.
I tell you, the stories out of school was brought to you today by.
Right? Oh my goodness! But
Yeah, but
that's a
that's
fun
fun
game.
too. It really is.
And that's
Yeah.
something that you could take turns as
Mhm.
parents doing the music. And so
Mhm.
one does the music and one plays with the kids. So it becomes
Mhm. Mhm.
a whole family game.
Oh yeah. there is so many things out there we could talk about. I mean, you take like balloons, blow them up and play, you know, volleyball in the house back and forth, or because the balloon's not going to hit anything, or, you know,
Right.
really, you know, but there's just a ton of things you can do to break the monotony, because you get kids involved in doing something physically and they're enjoying doing it. They won't even think about a laptop or cell phone or whatever. They really
Right.
won't. And that's
Well,
the
there's
objective.
right. There's, Simon Says or Red
Mm.
Light, Green Light, Mother May I.
Hmm.
So, Simon Says is two or more players. I always
Hmm.
thought it was better with more than three.
Hmm.
And then same with Red Light, Green Light, or Mother
Hmm.
May I. So
Hmm.
those are always so much fun to play.
Oh yeah, and it's amazing how with you take socks for example, and you get the paper rolls from like toilet paper, save those up, and or plastic bottles, whatever you may have there, and have the kids put them on a little table or something. Have the kids throw the sock and see how many they can knock off and something like that, because you're not going to damage anything. It's safe.
Right.
But there's all kind of games on there, and just research it on the internet, because my goodness,
Oh,
because yeah, because kids around the house, if it's too hot to go outside, they're going to be stuck on that cell phone, that, or their
mm,
iPad or whatever they got. That's where they're going to be, plowed into. They don't have any communication skills out there interacting with other people, and that is a skill that really,
in and of itself.
yeah, and that's a skill today that really needs some improvement, even in the, millenniums, the 20-year-olds, and just all across the board there, you might say.
Right. Generation X.
Yeah, 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 really
Well, and
does.
and all these games that we've talked about, really the beautiful thing about it is 95% of them, Jim,
Mhm.
are all about more than one person. So you become a team,
Mhm.
even if you're playing against the other person, it's
Mhm.
still in a team environment.
Yes,
So you're
yes.
learning about that interaction. You're also teaching your children, you know
Mhm.
what, not everybody can win,
Mhm. Right.
right? And there's nothing wrong with that because we know as adults, right? We don't win at everything in life. We get knocked down a time or two. And
I
and
know it.
and
I'm
we don't
depressed.
and we don't get to go home, with a consolation prize. We go home, with the wind knocked out of us, saying, "Okay,
Mhm.
I'm going to get up tomorrow, dust myself off, and I'm going to do
Mhm.
it again."
Oh,
And
yeah.
and I'm going to get there. And so
Mhm.
that helps teach our children the things
Mhm.
that somewhere along the way, in that I believe that we've lost, that we
Oh,
were
yeah.
brought up with, that we were
Oh, yeah.
brought up with.
Yeah. I mean, I remember, in school, because I was small, I was usually the last one to get picked for the team.
Hmm.
But so what? I got picked
Right?
and I got to play, some, but I mean, it didn't it didn't bother me. It really didn't. It may bother some other kids, but it never bothered me. I mean, it just didn't. And but it's important for kids to understand you can't be in first place. The story that comes to my mind is that Andy Griffith's show where Barney is training Opie to run in a race, and in the visions of his little mind, he's smoking everybody. The day of the race, he finished last. Some of you have seen that's seen Andy Griffith shows will know it, because it always taught good morals and stuff like
It
that.
did.
And Andy Thomas says, I was really disappointed because you were not there. He says, well, I lost. Well, that's no reason. I don't remember the exact words, but the moral of the story was that's not an excuse not to congratulate the winner
Right.
and, be respectful of the fact that they beat you.
Right.
So what?
Right.
But that winner, no matter how fast they are or how good they are or whatever, they can't beat you in everything,
Well,
because there are going to be some things you're going to be unbeatable in.
right. I remember the first time my bonus daughter, my stepdaughter,
Hmm.
um, was we went to one of her dance competitions, and they were huge. It wasn't just the school. These are the national competition. And for her division, everybody got a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
And it blew me away. I went, what? I said, they didn't even play, Sedge. And he's
Mm-hmm.
like, I know, but everyone gets a trophy.
Mm.
I said, well, good Lord, no wonder everything's so expensive nowadays, because now
Yeah.
everybody has to have a trophy. And, you know,
Yeah.
to
That's just
me,
not right.
right, going into it and the experience of learning and of growing and of giving it everything you have is invaluable, whether you
Yeah.
win, lose, or draw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're exactly right. Because even if you come in last, you get a trophy, you show somebody, I got a trophy. Well, where'd you finish at last?
Right.
I mean, that's, that philosophy of, everybody winning and all this, that, and the other. I mean, come on. You gotta have grassroots reality, feet on the ground.
Hmm.
Sometimes in life you're gonna lose.
Right.
So what? You got to learn how to deal with failure to be successful. Otherwise, you'll never be successful if you don't know how to deal with failure.
It creates an energetic, emotional disconnect.
Yes, ma'am. What Donna said. Yeah, yeah.
But
I
it
do that.
does, because, and I talk about this a lot. I talk about paradigms and how our paradigms and what we say changes how we feel. But this is, in my opinion, the same thing, that if we give everyone a feel good
Mm-hmm.
and then go home, oh, I got a trophy, I got a trophy.
Mm-hmm.
And, they didn't do anything to, maybe they only went to practice once a week when they were
Mm-hmm.
practicing 5 days a week.
Yeah,
But because they paid for the class and they still got a participation trophy, it doesn't teach them anything to really work and look forward to.
yeah.
So it changes the paradigms.
Mm-hmm.
Then, and I've seen it, at least, that I see a lot of people who think, well, why can't I win? Or
Mm-hmm.
coming out, I've seen it on people wanting help with their children finding a job, who are
Mm-hmm.
in high school, saying, well, I've got a junior in high school, and does anyone know where they can get a job? And I mean, they need at least 20, $25 an hour. And I'm thinking, really?
Mm-hmm.
What have
Yeah,
they done?
that even shocked the kitty.
Yeah. So that's just
Mm-hmm.
my thought on it.
Oh yeah, I agree with you, Donna, because it's you got to be able to learn how to accept failure and to say be gracious about it, because anybody can be a happy winner, but to be thankful to know that even though you were limited in your physical ability or mental ability, whatever it might be, you did the best you can and walk away with a satisfied mind. That's the main thing.
Yep.
And I've told the story many times of the Pro-Am tournament I was in at Tour 18 in Houston for the Kids Unlimited. It was a nonprofit deal. And of course, we played what's called the Florida four-man scramble, where you take the best shot from the four-man team, which automatically gives you a lower score and all that, speeds up the game. But there was two teams. Let's see, wait a minute. It was two teams per hole. So 18 holes, that's 36 teams. And it came, time to turn in our scorecard and all that. And that's one thing about golf. Golf is probably the most credible game because golfers are notoriously honest about their score. They really are. It's a pride thing or an honor thing. I don't know what it is, but no one ever really thinks about. I imagine there are a few, but most of the golfers I've known, they're honest about their scores. They really are. And so we turned it in not thinking anything, and we finished third. And out of 36 teams, and we get a plaque. So people would come into my business to visit with me. I had that golf plaque there from Pro-Am tournament, Tour 18. And I go, wow, Jim, you were on a team that finished third in a Pro-Am tournament? Yeah. Wow, I'm impressed. Not really. Only 3 teams showed up. That was my standard comment to them. But if they would have gave everybody a trophy there, it would have been worthless.
Right.
But that third place trophy meant a lot to me because we earned it.
Well, and there's so much grace in learning that you did your best.
Oh, yeah.
And even if you didn't place.
Mhm.
And there is so much grace in being able to, as a winner or as somebody who didn't win, being able, like you said, congratulate the other people.
Yes, yes.
I used to run, and I used to run competitively, and it was, we always, even in high school,
Yeah.
we always like, man, good race. It didn't matter if we won or lost. Our teammates always was like, good race, way to go.
Yeah.
Because we were out there trying, and and I mean, it's hotter than the blazes of hell here when you're out there running in the desert,
Oh, yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
my AAU coach used to train us in the river bottom.
There's no
We'd have
wind blowing down there.
No, we'd have to go run in the sand, and then we'd hit there'd be at least one time, if not twice a week, we'd have to run sets on the stadiums at ASU. And that was, to get our endurance up and to get our strength up. It was a good thing I loved it because it was brutal. But, I didn't always win. I didn't always place. But I certainly have fond memories.
I hear you. I know what you mean, because to know that you did the best you could, and to learn the fact that congratulating someone that was better than you, that's important in life. That makes you a bigger and a better person on the inside, more so than winning.
Right.
Winning doesn't take any brains at all. Yeah, I won, but I mean, having the integrity,
right,
to and the strength, inner strength to do that, that's priceless to a young person.
It is. It is.
Yeah. And
But Jim,
I know what you're going to say.
I know.
We're out of quarters.
Yep, we're out of quarters, we're out of dimes, and we're out of time.
We're financially embarrassed, is what she's saying. I told that to a guy one time, I was wanting some money. And I said, well, I'd like to help you out, but I said, right now you caught me at a bad time. Well, I said, yeah. I said, I'm financially embarrassed. And he kind of like, that it went over his head. He didn't get it. I think he got it the following Thursday or something. But when I said that, it was a phrase that he had never heard before, and it just went over his head. He didn't know what to say with it, because he was expecting to say me, I don't have the money.
Right.
But when I said I was financially embarrassed, he kind of like, that was a left hook. It caught him coming.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
He didn't see it coming. He did not see it coming. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, our time is gone. We've had a wonderful week, and be sure and get in touch with Donna at highenergyrightnow@gmail.com. She'll give you a complimentary 30-minute consultation and about what's blocking your energy. She's great at that. And here again, we spoke earlier, I put this up a little earlier, how to trace your family tree, get the kids involved, because they're going to be surprised, and maybe you too, by finding out some things about your relatives. Remember to love yourself first. That is critical. You are worthy to love yourself. No matter what anyone else thinks, they are not you. You make sure you love yourself. And as Donna likes to say, you make sure you
give yourself grace.
That's right. And if you do something wrong, so what? Get back up and, do things right. But forgive yourself and love yourself so much that you can love others, and love them to the point that you can forgive them. And most importantly, follow your energy in life, because you have a distinct calling in life that is specifically yours. You have an individual pathway that belongs to you. Don't cheat yourself. We hope you have a wonderful weekend. We're out of time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.